if we don't do anything, the best thing that we're gonna have for our kids in the future is to show them a picture in a book. This was a species that I let go extinct in my lifetime. That's not something I want to be a part of. So my name's Kim Scott. I'm the Mexican Wolf Ssp coordinator, and I am currently, my day job is curator of animals at the Peoria Zoo. The Mexican wolf is quite literally a very special gray wolf. It is the smallest subspecies, the most genetically distinct of all of the gray wolves. And really you could, for the longest time, call it the most endangered. Now we're kind of head in head with the red wolf. But critically endangered, smallest subspecies, most distinct subspecies of gray wolf. So once ranged in their native natural range was the southwest portion of the US, southeast Arizona, southern New Mexico, southwestern Texas, and then central north Mexico. So they had a nice range. Early 1800s, mid 1800s, the Mexican gray wolf was doing fine. Numbers were high, habitat was great, prey population was sound, they were doing fine. What really happened at that time was people were moving in, livestock values were extremely high, people were getting a great deal of money for livestock values. We were losing habitat because of the encroachment of the settlements. We were therefore losing prey sources for the species. So wolf-human conflict started happening. People didn't understand the roles predators played in our ecosystem and the importance for a diverse ecosystem. They just wanted to get rid of the problem so that they could live their lives, raise their cattle, no longer have, predator issues. By the mid-1900s, we had essentially done a great job, and we had eradicated the Mexican wolf from the landscape, primarily for sure in the US. Thought some remnant populations were still viable or still existing in northern Mexico. But for the most part, the large-scale predator control programs did their job. In 1976, Fish and Wildlife Service actually added the Mexican gray wolf to the endangered species list. So that was it. That was the moment it made it official, first of all, that we recognized the Mexican gray wolf as being critically endangered. And if we didn't do something, and we didn't do something soon, we would lose it. From 1976 to the early 80s, a lot of things happened. Plans started being put in place to capture out any wild wolves left in Mexico, getting them into captivity. It started a binational program with Mexico. So we started this relationship with the Mexican government because the wolves were in Mexico. This was a binational animal in both countries. And also by 1982, the first recovery plan was actually developed and implemented. So we added additional founders. We ended up with the founder population that we have today. But from those points, we started to grow a captive population. And that's where the Mexican Wolf SSP also came into play in those years, being formulated as a manager of these captive facilities.
What's happening, everyone? I actually recorded this interview and this footage maybe 3 years ago, pre-Bus Life. And most of you know I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. The Endangered Wolf Center is located here. And it was an organization that I reached out to because I'm obviously interested in nature and the outdoors and conservation efforts. And what better place to do a video with than the Endangered Wolf Center. The center was founded in 1971, so if I'm doing my math correctly, this is the 50th anniversary that it's been operating. And it's because of this center, along with many other organizations, that the Mexican gray wolf is still in existence today. Between 1977 and 1980, there was an effort to recover as many Mexican gray wolves from the wild as possible, and that only led to the recovery of 4 males and 1 pregnant female. And from those 5 founding members is the representation of the Mexican gray wolf population that is now in existence. The last numbers I had heard was that there are now over 300 Mexican gray wolves back in the wild between the US and Mexico. And there's a lot of work to still be done. Kim Scott still has a lot to share with you on the second half of the interview, but I thought I would interrupt this and show you guys the day that I recorded a vet check with members of the Endangered Wolf Center. I was invited to essentially document this 6-week pup check. and it was just the most amazing experience. This was all before my vlogging days, so I was really taking this more from like a documentary perspective and just recording, running, gunning, trying to get as much good footage as possible. And it's pretty intense because the wolves were wound up, obviously, because people were in the enclosure as they had to go in and check the health of the newly born pups. I believe it was a Sunday morning, and there's a lot of planning that goes into these types of things. I mean, they were, drawing up plans on a board and really talking in detail about it. I mean, there's a lot of preparation, a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that you don't notice or see when you're coming as a visitor. And you can make visits to the Endangered Wolf Center. They hold a lot of different events, so definitely get in touch with their Facebook page, follow them on Instagram and all of that jazz too. Please excuse the shaky footage you are about to see, but I was in a wolf enclosure. It was a rather stressful situation. I also had to carry one of those little prongy things that you'll see in the footage in order for me to have some sort of personal protection while I was in there. So enjoy the pup check.
Right. Lisa Hauska is going to man the shift doors for us, so before we actually go in, she's going to close this door down here so that the pups don't run through in this way, since we're going to go up. And you are actually going to be over here on a shift door, just in case the puppies decide to run into holding, but more than likely they probably won't. If an adult runs in there, catch them. Okay. Is this door closed? So she's handling everything from fish up to...
Who is her boss? Right here.
Dale can't take it home anyway. I can only post something. Yeah. Okay, the pups are in too, along with that.
Pretty much never ending.
Aaron's gonna go with Danielle. Aaron, Danielle, go. Do you want to keep going? Okay.
Looks really good.
Can I have a towel, please? Yes. One down and one up.
$16.87.
Look at those whiskers.
Years.
We'll see how we're dining out for this one too. I'm just stuck behind you.
You just have one backlight. You can keep that. Yeah. We're going to do microchips today?
Yes.
Good. 0261.
10 pounds per pound. So 10 pounds.
This is a gigantic
What?
Regina.
Front line, I think, yeah. This one. Through the skin twice, so
Popped right out.
pulled out with the needle. It could have been either one.
Make sure it stayed in.
Okay, that one's in.
Oh, he's got another tick on his eye too.
Yeah, you want to tear me?
Yeah.
Hey, look. Turn and face the camera.
Back end?
Mark your breeder.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
718. That's probably got some, there was supposed to be a syringe with it, but that would go on. There wasn't one.
Yeah. Put it away. Okay.
Lisa, switch him. Lisa, switch! Let her go, Brock. Let her
Taking her sweet time.
I want you guys in the middle to come up about 5 steps. I'm here. Look at me. Focus on me. Wave it up and down. Not your body. Get her. Get her. Sarah. What? Hard. I need a beach.
Oh.
Got one. Drop.
Just wild. Such a crazy experience. Super grateful I got the opportunity to go inside the enclosure while they did that check. And man, I really hope more things like that are around the corner for me too. Usually I would take a moment to point out my Patreon page in the description, but I'm also going to be linking the Endangered Wolf Center down there. So if you feel compelled to support their mission, please check out the description and you can find more information on the center and how you can support their mission below. But for now, let's go back to Kim Scott and hear more about the species survival plan and the Mexican gray wolf.
So an SSP is short for Species Survival Plan. What an SSP is a cooperative conservation management program. And the key word in that whole phrase is cooperative. So this is a program that is run by AZA, Association of Zoos and Aquariums. This is an initiative that's created under that umbrella. The Mexican wolf SSP is simply one animal there's over 500 SSPs in this program. But to become an SSP, the species has to be identified as being in critical trouble, a species that needs cooperative care in order to get it out of this problem, to get its numbers up in captivity, to help support a wild reintroduction, whatever the goals of that institution are. But not one institution or one government agency or one nonprofit is going to be able to manage the species alone to success. So it takes all of these institutions to cooperatively work together to manage all our little populations in captivity as one larger population. The Mexican wolf SSP has sort of an umbrella mission about it, and that mission is simply to support the reestablishment of the Mexican gray wolf into the wild. That partnership comes in with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. They are charged with the recovery efforts on the ground. That big umbrella goal or mission of the Mexican wolf SSP of helping establish a wild population of Mexican gray wolves is primary mission. The SSP has a number of goals to meet that mission. The primary goal of the Mexican wolf SSP is to make sure we maintain an assurance population in human care so that we can support those wild reintroductions. Without that as your first goal, there's nothing else that's important. So in a nutshell, the three primary goals of the SSP is captive breeding, education, and research. So that's just the quick, down and dirty of it all. We have to make people understand how important the species is to recovery, to being out in the wild, to being part of our ecosystem. We also have to make sure people understand who are not only just on the ground where the wolves are being recovered, but we need to make everyone understand that mission. So one of the biggest successes we've had in the last few years is successful artificial inseminations. We've had a number of different techniques over the years, but it's something because it's important to the SSP and it's an initiative that we have, supporting the researchers, giving it enough time and energy and effort, we've had great successes there. The artificial inseminations are great because you can introduce different genetic material to a particular female without breaking up a bonded pair, that sort of thing. So that's huge in human care, trying to manage these animals. Another really important success on the reproductive front was the first ever frozen thawed semen pup. So what happens is a number of these animals pass away before their genetic material has been utilized in the population. So we've been freezing that semen particularly, and now we're even freezing oocytes. And so for the first time, which is huge, that we've been able to thaw that semen and produce a live pup. So when we're encountered with someone who definitely has a negative or misconception of what a wolf is, the things that I like to point out is that I would jump into a backyard with a wolf before I would jump in the backyard with somebody's domestic dog. Wolves have a completely different fear factor social system that is not equated with how we understand. We understand wolves sometimes as we understand our domestic dogs. They're accustomed, they're aggressive perhaps, they're gonna come approach you, they're going to do all those things that have created that fear in your mind of what an encounter with a wolf would be. That couldn't be farther from the truth. An encounter with a wolf would be so incredibly rare and special that it's not going to happen. Wolves are incredibly incredibly shy. They're incredibly elusive. They are going to stay on the farthest perimeter, distance from an encounter with a human, particularly if it is a healthy, normal wild wolf. Historically, wolves, and therefore top predators, particularly in our ecosystem, have always been misunderstood. They've always been thought of as aggressive species that we should fear and that we should stay away from, and that are nothing but dangerous to our environment. What we now know is that everything plays a role in our ecosystem, whether you're the top apex predator or you're the very bottom of the bacterial chain in our ecosystem. So everything has a role. Their primary feed strategy is hunting, and they do play a role in keeping other ungulate and prey species healthy in that population. So it's incredibly important to have everything that is in our ecosystem there and playing the role that they're supposed to play. If we don't do anything, the best thing that we're gonna have for our kids in the future is to show them a picture in a book. This was a species that I let go extinct in my lifetime. That's not something I want to be a part of. For why you should care, it's for that reason, that you don't want to keep pointing out all these things to our kids that we've let go, that we didn't care about. And the Mexican wolf is just super high on that list because they're so close to that brink of being simply a story in a book.
Obviously, this video is a little different than my previous vlog content, but this is kind of the type of stuff I want to be doing ahead, more like docu-vlog content. So if you guys are a part of an organization or know of a topic or a place that you think would be really interesting for me to cover, especially while I'm traveling full-time on the road ahead, please reach out to me via message. But for now, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.